जय श्री श्री गुरु गौरंग गंधर्व गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरन मोहन जू की जय। नित्यल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार अष्टोत्तर शत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्यल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार अष्टोत्तर शत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार अष्टोत्तर शत शिशुमार भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिशुमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिशुमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्रील गोरक्षदास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। नित्यल प्रविष्ट श्रील सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्यल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानु गौड़िया गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम अक्षय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंद श्याम कुंद की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। जय श्री चैतन्य भगवत की जय। All right, so I am sharing my screen and we will begin the Mangala Charan. Hari Bol, Raseshwari Mataji and Krishna Mai Didi. Hari Bol. Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tar Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadant sai ajanulambita bhujo kanakavadato sankirtanai kapitaro kamalaya Vishwambharo Dvijavaro Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro Namastrikala Satyaya Jagannatha Sutaya Cha Sabhrityaya Saputraya Sakalatraya Te Namaha. Jai 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 Vishwambhara Dvijaraj Jaya Vishwambhara Priya Vaishnava Samaj Gaurachandra Jai Dharma Setu Mahadhir Jai Sankirtana Moy Sundar Sharir Jaya Nityanandir Bandhava Dhana Pran Jaya Gadadhar Advaiter Prema Dham Jai Shri Jagarananda Priya Atishay Jai Vakreshwar Kashishwarer Hriday Jai Jai Shiva Sari Priya Varganath Jiva Pratikoro Prabhu Shubha Drishtipat Madhya-khaṇḍa Katha Jeno Amriter Khanda Je Katha Shunile Ghuche Antar Pashanda Madhya-khaṇḍa Katha Bhai Shuno Eka Chitte Sankirtana Aramba Hoilo Jeno Mate Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Devi Tvam Nayamam Charanantikam. Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshai Kshiptashtakamaditaranga madhe Kripa mai tvam sharanam prapanna Vrinde namaste charana ravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol Shachi Prabhu and Ganga Mataji. Dandavat pranams. All right, so the glories of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata and Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur from Śrī Caitanya Charitamrita. Ore mura lokshuno Chaitanya Manga, Chaitanya Mahima Jate Jani Beshakal, Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kohe Ved Vyas, Chaitanya Lila Vyas Vrindavana Das, Vrindavana Dasa Koilo Chaitanya Manga, Jahara Shavane Nashe Sarvaya Manga. Chaitanya Nitar Jate Jani Mahima Jate Jani Krishna Bhakti Siddhanter Sima Bhagavate Joto Bhakti Siddhanter Sar Likhiya Chen Iha Jani Koriya Udhar Chaitanya Mangala Shune Jadi Pashandi Jaban Sheho Mahavaishnava Hoy Tatokhon Manushe Rachite Nare Aiche Granta Dhanya Vrindavana Dasa Mukhe Bhakta Shri Chaitanya Vrindavana Dasa Pore Koti Namaskar Aiche Granta Korite Ho Tarila Sangsar Narayani Chaitanya Uchishta Bhajan तार गर्भे जन्मिला दास वृंदावन तार की अद्भुत चैतन्य चरित वर्णन जहाँ श्रवणे शुद्ध कोइल त्रिभुवन सहजे विचित्र मधुर चैतन्य विहार वृंदावन दास मुखे अमृतेर धार. By nature, all the activities of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu are very wonderful and sweet. And when they are described by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, they become like a shower of nectar. Jai Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai. Jai the Gaudiya Bhashya of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki jai. Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki jai. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Okay, so we're continuing on with our reading of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata. We are on chapter 23. Let's see, what were the previous chapters? Just going to go through the titles. I think it's always good to do that just so that we always remember where we are in Mahaprabhu's pastimes and we're able to understand the flow. I'm going to just start from the beginning. Just the titles. Okay, so chapter 1 was beginning the beginning of the Lord's manifestation and his instructions on, what was it? His instructions on Krishna Sankirtan. And that's what we ended with yesterday, is Krishna's instructions on Krishna Sankirtan. Mahaprabhu's instructions to the residents of Navadvīpa. Then chapter 2 was the Lord's manifestation at the house of Srivas and the inauguration of Sankirtan. Then 3, the Lord manifests his Varaha form in the house of Murari and meets with Nityananda. 4 was revelation of Nityananda's glories. Then Lord Nityananda's Vyas Puja ceremony and Nityananda's darshan of the Lord's six-armed form. Then the Lord's meeting with Advaita Acharya, the meeting of Gadadhar and Pundarik, 7, Then 8 is the manifestation of opulences. What was that one about? Nityananda's stay at the house of Srivas, Malini's service to Nityananda in the mood of Vatsalya, Mahaprabhu's test of Srivas's love for Nityananda, Srivas's firm faith in Nityananda, Mahaprabhu's benediction on Srivas, Nityananda's performance of various childhood pastimes, Mother Shachi's dream that was so much fun, Mahaprabhu's invitation to Nityananda, Nityananda's lunch at the house of the Lord, Mother Shachi's vision of their opulences, Gaura Nitai's wonderful ecstatic mood, Mahaprabhu rides on the shoulders of a singer who sang the glories of Lord Shiva, the Lord's resolution to perform congregational chanting at night, the Lord's nightly Sankirtan pastimes at the house of Srivas, the atheist's various envious statements, Mahaprabhu's and associates' kirtan behind closed doors, Mahaprabhu's climbing on the throne of Lord Vishnu and is eating in a wonderful mood. Okay. That's why it was so vague, because there's so many things in this chapter. Okay. Now, chapter 9. The Lord's 21-hour ecstasy and descriptions of Sridhar and other devotees' characteristics. I think this is my favorite chapter. 10. Conclusion of the Lord's Mahaprakash pastimes, the Lord's 21-hour ecstasy. The characteristics of Nityananda, the glories of Nityananda, the deliverance of Jagai and Madhai, that's chapter 13. 14. Yamaraja's Sankirtan. Descriptions of 15. Descriptions of Madhavananda's realization. 16. The Lord's acceptance of Shuklambar's rice. 17. The Lord's wandering throughout Navadvīpa and descriptions of the devotees' glories. 18. Mahaprabhu's dancing as a gopi. The Lord's pastimes in Advaita's house. The glories of Murari Gupta. The Lord's chastisement of Devananda. 22. Delivering Shachi Devi from offense and description of Nityananda's qualities. 23. Wandering about Navadvīpa on the day the Lord delivered the Kazi. That's where we are today. All right, so let's continue. Okay, I'll just read part of the summary by Srila Bhaktivinoda Puri Goswami Maharaj, and we'll read the rest later on. This chapter describes Sriman Mahaprabhu's enjoyment of nightly Sankirtan with his devotees. A milk-drinking brahmachari's request to Srivas to see the Sankirtan dancing, Srivas's bringing him to his house, the Lord's anger, the Lord's explanation on the insignificance of useless austerity, the Lord's mercy on the milk-drinking brahmachari, the Lord's instruction to the inhabitants of Navadvīpa to chant the Mahamantra. So that's what we ended it with yesterday. And today, we're going to be reading about the breaking of the mṛdaṅga by the Kazi, the Lord's resultant anger, and the procession to subdue the Kazi, the Hari Sankirtan throughout the villages of Navadvīpa. So that's what we're reading today. And then tomorrow, well, not tomorrow, because I think tomorrow's Vasant Panchami, right? So we'll have a special reading tomorrow. So we'll continue then the day after tomorrow. The auspicious welcome at every house and the showering of flowers by the demigods. The inhabitants' ecstatic festival. The atheists' envy. The Lord's instructions to subdue the Kazi. The Lord's neglect of the Kazi on the request of the devotees. The Lord's visits to the villages of the conchal merchants and weavers. The Lord's visits to the house of Sridhar, his drinking water from Sridhar's broken iron water pot, and the narration of the devotees' glories. So this is a very long chapter, almost 30,000 words. So it'll take us a few days to get through this. What time is it now? We have 15 minutes before it's the time we normally start. Okay, so I'm just going to read, I'm going to just read translations of what we read yesterday. All glories to Śrī Krishna Caitanya, the ocean of transcendental qualities. All glories to Vishvambar, the controller of personalities like Shiva. All glories to the beloved Lord of Nityananda and the best of Brahmanas. All glories to the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. In this way, Lord Vishwambar enjoyed pastimes in Navadvīpa that could not be seen by everyone. Sorry. One second, I'm gonna paste this down, make it fast. Day after day, the abode of Navadvīpa became filled with ecstasy because of the presence of Vishwambar, the Lord of Vaikuntha. Accompanied by his beloved Nityananda, the Lord engaged in pastimes of relishing his own names and the association of the devotees. The Lord performed kirtan every night. No one except the devotees could participate. The glories of Vishwambar's prowess were so great that no one in the three worlds knew their limits. Hidden in the distance, 5 or 10 people gathered together and spoke bad words that would take them to hell. Someone said, "What kind of Vaishnav can there be in Kali Yuga? Those Vaishnavs we see are simply engaged in filling their stomachs." Someone else said, "If I can tie their hands and legs and throw them in the water, my unhappiness will be mitigated. Only then will I be happy." Someone said, "Oh, brother, know for certain that Nimai Pandit will ruin the entire village." They would threaten the devotees so that they could see the kirtan. But because they were unfortunate, what could their cunning accomplish? As the son of Shachi performed Sankirtan, the consciousness of everyone in the world was purified. Ordinary people lamented because they could not see the kirtan. Ordinary people, they sighed deeply and considered themselves unfortunate. Some people requested the devotees to let them inside so that they could secretly watch the Sankirtan. All the Lord's servants, they saw what happened to Srivasa's mother-in-law. So yeah, they understood that the Lord knew everything. So in fear of his reaction, they did not take anyone inside. There was one particular brahmachari who lived in Navadvīpa. He was austere, saintly, and faultless. He only drank milk and did not eat rice. This Brahman went to see the Lord's kirtan. Since the Lord performed kirtan behind closed doors, no one other than the devotees was allowed to enter. This particular Brahman daily requested Srivas to allow him to see the Lord's dancing. "If you bestow mercy on me and take me one day inside your house, I will be able to see Nimai Pandit's dancing. Then my eyes will be successful and I will always remain grateful to you." In this way, the Brahman daily appealed to Srinivas, who one day replied to him, "I know you have always been a good person. Throughout your life, you have observed strict celibacy and eaten only fruits. Your body is free from sin, so you are certainly qualified to see the kirtan. But I tell you, the Lord has instructed us not to bring anyone inside, so you will have to stay hidden." After speaking in this way, he took the Brahman inside and hid him in one corner. Thereafter, the Lord of the 14 worlds began to dance in the midst of his most fortunate associates. They all jubilantly sang together, "Krishna, Ram, Mukunda, Murari, Vanamali." Nityananda and Gadadhar held each other as they twirled around, and the lion like Advaita ran here and there in ecstasy. As the Lord of Vaikuntha personally danced, everyone lost external consciousness and transcendental happiness. Nothing could be heard other than Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Oh, brothers, chant the holy names. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol of Bhai. Who can describe Vishwambar's transformations of ecstatic love, like shedding of tears, shivering, hair standing on end, and loud roaring? Yet Lord Vishwambar, the crest jewel of omniscient persons, knew that a Brahman was hiding there. Lord Vishwambar repeatedly stopped dancing and said, "Why am I not feeling any ecstasy today? I cannot understand. It seems someone is inside the house. Tell me the truth." In fear, Srinivas replied, "O Lord, no atheists have come inside. There is only one brahmachari, a pious Brahman who leads a sinless life and only drinks milk. He had a strong desire to see your dancing. You have rightly surmised, O Lord, he is hiding inside the house." On hearing this, Vishwambar angrily said, "Quickly take him out of the house. What qualification does he have to see my dancing? Can one attain devotion to me by drinking milk? The Lord raised his two arms and extended his index finger. He raised his two arms and extended his index finger while saying, no one can attain me simply by drinking milk. Hari Bol, Hari Prabhu, and Bhavatarani Mataji. Know for certain that if even a Chandal surrenders to me, he is mine and I am his. If even a sannyasi does not surrender to me, he is not mine. This is the truth I am telling you. Tell me, what kind of austerities did Gajendra, the monkeys, and the cowherds perform to attain me? Even the demons perform austerities. But what is the result? Unless they take shelter of me, they cannot be delivered. The Lord continued, one cannot attain me only by drinking milk. You will see right here how I smash him to pieces. As the brahmachari left in great fear, that sober Brahman thought to himself, I am indeed fortunate to have seen something. I have also received appropriate punishment for my offense. I saw that wonderful dancing and wonderful kirtan, and I was punished according to my offense. Only a servant of the Lord develops such a mentality and is able to tolerate the Lord's chastisement. So we'll see, because of this mood that he had, that he was really a servant of the Lord, because only a servant of the Lord could tolerate the Lord's chastisement like that. Then he got Mahaprabhu's mercy. So this is the qualification to get the mercy of the Lord, not just having some amazing austerities that you're able to perform. As that exalted Brahman departed while thinking in this way, Lord Vishwambar, the Supersoul, understood his heart. The Lord, who is an ocean of mercy, called the Brahman back and placed his lotus feet on his head. The Lord then told him that he shouldn't be proud of his austerity, and he should know for certain that devotional service to the Supreme Lord is supreme. Vishnu Bhakti Sarva Shrishta. That exalted Brahman cried in ecstasy as he continually remembered the merciful qualities of the Lord. All the devotees then jubilantly chanted the name of Hari and immediately offered obeisances to the brahmachari. Anyone who faithfully hears this confidential pastime will certainly attain Lord Gaurachandra. Haribol Madhusudan Prabhu, you said Srinivas or Srivas. Sometimes it's written Srinivas and sometimes it's written Srivas. So he had those two names. And I think lots of times in the verses they'll write Srinivas so that it fits the meter. Like they need, like Vrindavan Das Thakur needed one extra syllables to fit the meter. But yeah, Srinivas, Srivas, two names for the same person.
Oh, this is great because I'm sorry to interrupt, but Srila Prabhupada, our Prabhupada, my guru, he many times he mentioned his name as Srinivas. I said, oh, did Prabhupada, I mean, I couldn't, so thank you for clarifying this.
Yes.
I had that in my mind for a long time.
Okay, yeah. Yes, two names for the same person, yes.
That's great.
And Dandavat Pranam Shubham. Okay. After bestowing mercy on the brahmachari, the Lord profusely danced in ecstasy. I offer my obeisances at the feet of that Brahman, whose intelligence was purified by Lord Chaitanya's chastisement. 1 second. In this way, the Lord performed kirtan every night, but no outsiders had the right to watch. As a result, all the people of Nadia were distressed at heart. They put all the blame on the atheists. It's because of these atheists that were not able to have darshan of the Lord dance. They said, because of the foolish and sinful blasphemers, we are unable to see such a festival. They are all sinful atheists whose only business is to blaspheme. They are deprived of seeing such kirtans, so they simply suffer. Because of these sinful atheists, Nimai Pandit refuses to allow even good people inside. He is a devotee of Krishna, so he knows everything. Moreover, his heart is most pure. If we are devoted to him, then somehow we will certainly see his dancing one day. One of the inhabitants said, "Oh, brothers, just wait. We will see the dancing to our full satisfaction right here. Nimai Pandit has appeared within Nadia to deliver the entire world. I tell you, he will perform Sankirtan from door to door at every house and in every town." So even the devotees were not able to see the dancing of Mahaprabhu behind closed doors at night at Srivas Pandit's house. It's only like the really intimate associates of Nimai Pandit, not just all the devotees. He had to be very special, like a very special person to be able to behold that. The inhabitants of Navadvīpa were most fortunate, for they accompanied the Lord in each of his incarnations. But the scholars suffered as a result of their blasphemy. That's why scholarship doesn't mean nothing. Early every morning, the inhabitants would go to see the Lord. Everyone brought some gift, such as some new items, bananas, ghee, yogurt, or attractive flower garlands. Everyone went to see the Lord with such gifts. On seeing the Lord, they all offered obeisances to him. The Lord said to him, "May you all attain devotional service to Krishna. Do not speak about anything other than the names and qualities of Krishna." The Lord personally instructed everyone, "Hear the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and be happy." And yesterday, I worked on translating these verses, just these next 3 verses for the Gaudiya Gita Kucha. So you'll all see these verses in the very soon upcoming edition of Gaudiya Gita Kucha, right here, these ones. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'll read the Bengali for this, but it's so nice. Prabhu bole kohilaya e maha mantra, iha japa giya sabhe koriya nirbandha. The Lord continued, "This is the Maha Mantra. All of you go and chant this Maha Mantra according to a prescribed number. Iha hoite sarva siddhi hoibe sabar, sarva khan bolo ithe vidhi nahi ar." By doing so, everyone will attain all perfection. Always chant, "There is no other prescription." I think just those 3 verses, actually. Yeah. And then I got verses from chapter 28, which we'll read later on, which I'm also going to add in. And I thought we could sing, like, you can sing these if you are doing Nagar Sankirtan. Yeah. Then 5 to 10 people can sit together in a house and perform kirtan while clapping their hands. You should chant, "Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan." These are my instructions on how to perform Sankirtan. Go home and chant together with your wife, father, and sons. Actually, I really like this verse here. Dash pancha mili nija dwarete boshiya, kirtana koroho sabe, hate tut kalidiya. Whatever. I'm not gonna add that in. I'm gonna just keep it simple. Okay. Having received mantra from the mouth of the Lord, they all became jubilant. After offering obeisances, they returned to their respective homes. Okay, so that's where we read up to yesterday, and it is now 7:30, so time, well, 7:32, 2 minutes over time, but yeah, now we're going to continue where we left off. Oh, actually, no, we read this one as well. So they engaged their bodies and minds by constantly chanting the names of Krishna and meditating on the Lord's lotus feet. Okay. Or reading up to verse 187. Sandhya hoile apanar dvare shabe mili, kirtana koren sabe diya karatali. In the evenings, they gathered in their houses and performed kirtan while clapping their hands. E mata nagare nagare sankirtan, koraite lagilen shachir nandan. In this way, the son of Shachi inaugurated the congregational chanting of the holy names from village to village. Sabare uthiya prabhu alingana kore, apana galar mala de sabakare. The Lord stood up, embraced each one of them, and then offered his garlands to them. Dante trina kori prabhu parihara kore, aharnisha bhai sab bajaho krishnere. With straw between his teeth, the Lord appealed to them. O brothers, worship Krishna day and night. Gaudiya Bhashya by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Manifesting his humility before proud people, Sri Gaurasundar humbly requested everyone to always engage in the service of Krishna and never give up the worship of Krishna. Prabhur dekhiya arti kande sarvajan, kai mano bakhe loilen sankirtan. They all cried on seeing the Lord's anxiety. They then engaged in the process of sankirtan with their bodies, mind, and speech. Parama ahladeshab nagariya gan, hatte tali diya bole Rama Narayan. In great jubilation, all the inhabitants of Navadvīpa clapped their hands and chanted the names of Ram and Narayan. Mṛdaṅga mandira shankha ache sarva ghare, durgotsava kale badya baja bhartare. They all had mṛdaṅgas, karatals, and conch shells in their homes that they used during the Durga Puja festival. Gaudiya Bhashya. Every religious-minded person had musical instruments like mṛdaṅga and conch shell in their houses. They used them in the autumn or on the occasion of Mahamaya Puja in the month of Chaitra. Such worship is performed for the purpose of obtaining temporary worldly happiness. Those musical instruments were now used, so those musical instruments that were before used for their Mahamaya Puja for temporary worldly happiness were now used in the constant glorification of Hari. She sabavadya ebe kirtana shamaye, gayen bhajeno shabe santosha hridaye. Everyone was happy now to use those musical instruments at the time of kirtan. Hari O Rama Rama, Hari O Rama Rama. E mata nagare utilo brahmanam. I like that. This is bona fide. It's a bona fide mantra. Hari O Rama Rama, Hari O Rama Rama. Gonna use it in kirtan. In this way, the entire town became filled with the chanting of the Lord's transcendental names. Hari O Rama Rama, Hari O Rama Rama. Kola becha Sridhar, Jayan she phate, Dirga kori Hari naam bolite bolite. Kola becha Sridhar. Kola becha means the banana seller. Sridhar was walking down that same path, loudly chanting the name of Hari. Shuniya kirtana aram bhila mahanritya, anande vivala hoila Chaitanya bhritya. When that servant of Lord Chaitanya heard the kirtan, he became overwhelmed and began to dance in ecstasy. Dekhiya tahan shuk nagariya gan, bediya chaudike shabe koren kirtan. When the town's inhabitants saw how joyful he was, they gathered around him and performed kirtan. Haribo Vidyalala Sadidi. Gada gari jayen Shridhar prem rase, bahir mukha shakal durete thaki hase. As Sridhar began to roll on the ground in ecstatic love, the materialists laughed at him from a distance. Oh, the materialists. So they weren't laughing at him, like they were laughing at him, not like not in a nice way. Kona papi bole, hero dekho bai sab, kola becha minsa o hoilo Vaishnav. One of those sinners said, "Oh, brothers, just look at him. Even that Kolabecha fellow, that banana seller, has become a Vaishnav." Gaudiya Bhashya. The word minsa or minse refers to a man. It is a corruption of the word manusya and is used in villages to insult someone. Businessmen and small merchants are situated in the lower rungs of society. The Vaishnavas are the topmost. Everyone from the topmost platform to the lowest is eligible to attain devotional service to Vishnu. But persons from higher rungs or those who are educated do not allow persons from the lower rungs or those who are uneducated to become Vaishnavas. Sage Atri said, Vedar vihinash cha patanti shastram, shastrena hinash cha purana pata. Purana hina Krishino bhavanti, vrashtastato bhagavata bhavanti. Those who are unable to understand the Vedas go on to study the Dharma Shastras. Failing to understand the Dharma Shastras, they turn to the Puranas. Unable to grasp the real purport of the Puranas, they become farmers. Those who cannot do anything else become professional Bhagavatam reciters, although they have no real understanding of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In other words, even farmers who don't study Shastra at all, they are superior to professional Bhagavatam reciters. Actually, in our nurturing the seed session last night, that was the last sentence we read. We read this quote by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he said, "Therefore, we need to perform kirtan by discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, but such discussions are not meant for earning a living. Never make money off of the Srimad Bhagavatam, off of speaking Srimad Bhagavatam." Okay. It is also said, a Bengali proverb says, "Joto chilo nara bune sabai holo kirtane, kaste bhenge gorai koratal." When farmers are unable to grow anything, they take to kirtan. They then break their sickles and make kartals. In every age, so-called educated people often put obstacles in the path of low-class people's endeavors to achieve the platform and respect of a Vaishnav. But the Shastras state, what is that? Shashrata shriyate bhakto nri matrasyadikarita. Sorry. Every man has the birthright to accept devotional service and become Krishna consciousness. This is proved with evidence from many scriptures. I like this. Shashrata shriyate bhakto nri matrasyadikarita. Important verse. Every man has the birthright to accept devotional service and become Krishna consciousness. Elsewhere in Shastras it said, Antyaja apitad rashtre shanka chakranka darina Vaishnavi diksham samprapya dikshita iva sambhavu. In that kingdom, even the outcasts decorate their bodies with the marks of the conch shell and disc. They accept Vaishnava initiation and adopts the behavior of Vaishnavas. Haribol Suryavididi. All right, so one of those sinners, they laughing at Sridhar, who was rolling on the ground in ecstatic love. One of those sinners said, "Oh, brothers, just look at him. Even that Kolavichar fellow has become a Vaishnav." And he continued, Paridhana vastra nahi, pete nahi bhat, lokere janai bhava hoilo amat. He has no clothes to, sorry, he has no clothes, I can't read, sorry. He has no clothes to wear and no rice to eat. Yet he advertises, I am in ecstasy. Gaudiya Bhashya. Ordinary people think that if one wears fine clothes and acts civilized, he is a good Vaishnav. And if one can earn a lot of money and eat palatable foods, he is a Vaishnav. I especially see this a lot of times, that it doesn't matter what your conception is or how much you are really trying to follow our acharyas and giving honor to the teachings of our acharyas and like just trying to follow the example and teachings of our acharyas. That's kind of secondary nowadays for people. What's more important is how well-mannered you are and how nicely you speak, and what your personality is like. If you're friendly and you're able to please people, and like that's people respect you based on that. But if you are really rude and so many external, like yeah, just not a nice person, like you don't have a nice personality externally, then even if you're following everything that our Acharya said as like to the best of your ability, or it's super sincere in that way, you won't be respected in the general Vaishnav society. These external things are more important. If one gives up the propensity for wearing fine clothes and eating palatable foods, then by the influence of his higher thinking, he can become eligible for the service of the Supreme Lord. I've noticed with myself, like if I get used to eating really, like when I eat really yummy things for a while, it's really difficult for me to eat just plain rice and dal, or like really simple prasad, because and like my mind's disturbed. And yeah, but if we're able to give up this propensity for wearing fine clothes and eating palatable foodstuffs, then our mind is freed up to think about higher things. By the influence of his higher thinking, he can become eligible for the service of the Supreme Lord. This is the verdict of the Shastras. Therefore, poverty-stricken people display artificial love of God to achieve respect from ordinary people. Taking advantage of their state of poverty, they identify themselves as devotees situated in Bhav Bhakti, the first stage of love of Godhead. If those hypocrites who artificially identify themselves as advanced attribute blasphemy on the shoulders of the Lord's devotees, they become touched by sin. That's interesting. Sometimes people like, well, I'm poor. This is my opportunity to show that I'm have no material attachments and I'm beyond all these things, right? They'll try to show that they're interesting. So instructions for everybody in this one. Okay. Nagariya gula bole magi khai more akalete durgotsava ani leka ghare. The local inhabitants said, they are unable to maintain themselves by begging, so they are celebrating the Durga Puja festival at the wrong time. Gaudiya Bhashya. Since the local inhabitants, absorbed in sense gratification, mistakenly thought that the Vaishnavas, like themselves, engaged in dancing, chanting, and playing musical instruments for enjoying material happiness, they considered hari-kīrtana performed for the pleasure of Krishna as another means to enjoy material happiness, as in the Durga Puja festival. They further thought that it was not at all proper for poor people to ignore the concern of the hard-working professionals who maintained them, and to enjoy happiness in the performance of kirtan. After working the entire year to maintain their families, people spent their remaining wealth to attain happiness in the Durga Puja festival by dancing and playing musical instruments. So the performance of such activities at the wrong time was not reasonable to them. Haribo Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam, Sajan Maharaj, Hare Krishna. E moto pashandira bolgaye sadai pratidin nagariya gane Krishna gai. In this way, the atheists always criticized, while the inhabitants of Navadvīpa daily sang the glories of Krishna. Ekadin daive kaji she pate jai mṛdaṅga mandira shanka shuni bare pai. One day, by providence, the Kazi walked down that road, and he heard the sound of mṛdaṅgas, kartals, and conchels. Harinama kola holo chaturdike matra shuniya sangare kaji apanar shastra. When the Kazi heard the loud vibration of the Lord's holy names in the four directions, he immediately remembered his own scriptures. Gaudiya Bhashya. The residents of India engage in worship of the Lord by following the rules and regulations prescribed in the Shrutis, Smritis, Puranas, and Pancharatras. In that system, the hearing and playing of musical instruments is included. Since sinful people consider the form of the Supreme Lord equal to the enjoyable forms of the material world, they think that the vibration of sounds and musical instruments are impediments to the service of the Supreme Lord. When people renounce things related to Hari, thinking them to be material, they then consider activities favorable for the service of Hari as unfavorable to the worship of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, because of the misuse of renunciation, the utility of musical instruments for the service of the Supreme Lord is not acceptable to many people. This is part of Falgu Vairagya, or false renunciation, not Yukta Vairagya, it's Falgu Vairagya. One must give up musical instruments that intoxicate a living entity and distract him from the service of the absolute truth. But any conceptions devoid of proper understanding cannot be accepted as favorable to the service of the Supreme Lord. Kaji bole, dharo dharo, aji koro karja, aji baki kore tor, nimai acharya. The Kazi said, Dharo, dharo, catch them. I'll take action today. Let us see what your teacher Nimai does. Ate vyate polailo nagariagon mahatrase keshakeho na kore bandhan. The townspeople quickly ran away. Out of fear, they did not even tie their hair. Jahare pailo kaji marilo tahare. Here's the word. Bhangilo mṛdaṅga. He broke the mṛdaṅga. Bhangilo mṛdaṅga. Anachar koilo dware. The Kazi beat whoever he caught. He broke the mṛdaṅgas and created havoc at that place. Haribo Rukmini Didi. Kaji bole Hinduani hoilo nadia. Korimo ihar shasti nagali paya. The Kazi said, the entire Nadia has been overrun by the Hindus. When I catch them, I'll punish them. Gaudiya Bhashya. Since the Shrutis, Smritis, Puranas, and Pancharatras prescribe activities like worshipping the Lord and chanting his names, the sinful atheists considered such activities as part of Hindu culture. The staunch belief of those sinful people was that by uprooting Vedic principles and establishing a new religion, their prestige in religion would be maintained. Therefore, they disturbed the inhabitants of Navadvīpa who faithfully engaged in kirtan. They disturbed those inhabitants by indiscriminately arresting them. They beat some of them and indulged in activities opposed to the proper codes of conduct prescribed in the Shastras by breaking musical instruments. The plan of the sinful atheists was to uproot the social, natural, and spiritual rules and regulations of the various pious persons and inaugurate their new rules and regulations. When they saw in the dealings of Śrī Gaurasundar the reestablishment of religious principles described in the Vedas and Vedic literatures, they got the opportunity to stop that. Because they were administrators, they got the opportunity to suppress the citizens in the name of religion. ক্ষমা করি যায় আজি দৈবে হইল রাতি আর দিন লাগালি পাইলে লইব জাতি. It is night now, so I will excuse you today. But if I catch you again, then I will take away your caste. Gaudiya Bhashya. Chanting and playing musical instruments in observance of the eternal religious principles inaugurated by Sri Gaurasundar offered a great opportunity for the sinful atheists to attack. The Kazi said that if he got another excuse, he would forcibly change the social standing of the Nadia residents by converting them to his own religion. Ei mato pratidin dushtagan loya nagara brahmaye hari-kīrtana chahiya. In this way, the Kazi and his sinful followers daily wandered about the town looking for a kirtan. They were looking for a kirtan. They wanted to punish them. They wanted an excuse. Dukhe sab nagariya thake lukaiya Hindu gane kaji sab mare kadarthiya. In distress, the townspeople remained hidden, while the Kazi went about beating and chastising Hindus. This reminds me of when I was in China with Damodar Maharaj in 2006. In all the homes we had to do kirtan very quietly so that nobody outside would be able to hear, because that was actually, we were breaking the law by doing kirtan together. Gaudiya Bhashya. The inhabitants of Navadvīpa were forced to stop playing musical instruments in kirtan because of the Kazi's suppression. Yet they continued to do so in secret. With the help of the sinful townspeople who were envious of the devotees, the Kazi began to wander around searching for those engaged in kirtan. Whenever he found them, he would abuse them and beat them. Keho bole hari nama loibo mane mane hura huri boliache kon ba purane. Someone said, one should chant the name of Hari in one's mind. Which Purana recommends boisterous chanting? Hura huri. Gaudiya Bhashya. To obstruct preaching of the Supreme Lord's topics, the atheistic so-called Hindus took the side of the Kazi and took advantage of the Shastric descriptions of solitary worship and the philosophy of impersonalism to introduce the process of chanting the name of Hari within the mind. They introduced foolish arguments such as, no Shastras recommend loud chanting of Harinam or the performance of Harinam Sankirtan accompanied by dancing and musical instruments. Langile Veder Vakya e Shasti hoy Jati Koriha o e Golar nahi bhoy. This is a punishment for one who transgresses the Vedic injunctions. These fellows are not even concerned about their caste. Didn't they hear him? The Kazi said that he's going to take away their caste, but they don't even care about their caste. They're transgressing these Vedic injunctions. Gaudiya Bhashya. Ignorant people thought, since foolish people do not know the hymns of the Sama Veda, they do not glorify the Vedic literatures and have subsequently introduced the unauthorized process of chanting loudly and playing instruments. Because these devotees have such conceptions and transgress the Vedas, they are fit to be punished like this at the hands of the atheists. In other words, because they have introduced activities that are prohibited in the Vedas, they have proven that they are not afraid of losing their caste or protecting their social standing. Paramartha, or the ultimate goal, means to give special attention to protect one's caste and social standards. Niyamai pandita je koren ahankare sabe churna hoibek kajir duare. Now, Nimai Pandit's pride will be completely smashed by the Kazi. Gaudiya Bhashya. If the scriptural conclusions introduced by Nimai Pandit are defeated by the Kazi, then his pride will be smashed to pieces. Nagare nagare je bolen Nityananda, dekho tar kon din bahirai ranga. The happiness of Nityananda, who freely wanders around town, will soon come to an end. Gaudiya Bhashya. The ecstasy of Nityananda, the ecstasy Śrī Nityananda relishes from Nagar Kirtan will vanish when he one day receives appropriate punishment. Uchit bolite hoy amra pashanda, dhanya nadiyai eto upajila bhanda, bhoye keho kichu nahi kore pratyutar, prabhu stane giya sabe koren gochar. They call us atheists for speaking the truth. Oh, glories to Nadia, which is filled with so much hypocrisy. Out of fear, the devotees did not reply. They went to the Lord and explained everything to him. Haribo, Mahi Bharat Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams, Prabhu. Gaudiya Bhashya. When we try to explain that the process of Harinam Kirtan introduced by Gaur Nityananda is not sanctioned by the Vedas, ordinary foolish people call us atheists devoid of scriptural knowledge. Therefore, the new path introduced by these Dharma Dwajis, or religious imposters, is simply cheating. Without replying to the imprudent atheistic inhabitants, the devotees went to Mahaprabhu and explained how they were being unfairly tortured. Dharma Dwaji, doesn't Dwaja means flag, right? And so Dharma Dwaji, it's those who wave the flag of Dharma, means like they just show, yes, I'm religious, but they actually aren't. It's just, they simply just wave the flag of Dharma. Really, they're imposters, religious imposters. Kajir bhoyete ar na kore kirtan, pratidin bule loy sahasre kajan. Navadvīpa chhadiya jaibo anya sthane, kocharilo e dui tomar charane. So yeah, they went to Mahaprabhu and explained everything to him, what these people are saying. They said, out of fear of the Kazi, we do not perform kirtan anymore. The Kazi wanders about with thousands of followers. We will leave Navadvīpa and go somewhere else. We submit these two concerns at your feet. Gaudiya Bhashya. The inhabitants of Navadvīpa said, since thousands of the Kazi's people have become averse to kirtan, they will search us out and torture us. Therefore, we will leave Navadvīpa and go elsewhere. Fear of Kazi's torture and leaving Navadvīpa to escape that fear were the two anxieties that the inhabitants of Navadvīpa submitted before Mahaprabhu. Kirtaner bad shuni, Prabhu Vishwambar, krode hoilen Prabhu, Rudra Murti Dhar. When Vishwambar heard about the impediments to the kirtan, he became like Rudra in his anger. Rudra. Hunkar koroye Prabhu Shachir Nandan, Karnadhori Hari Bole Nagariya Gan. Oh my God. The son of Shachi roared loudly, and the inhabitants covered their ears and chanted the name of Hari. I guess he's roaring so loudly that he's going to break their eardrums, so they had to cover their ears. Prabhu bole Nityananda ho sabadhan, ekhane chalo shab Vaishnaver sthan. The Lord said, "Oh Nityananda, get ready and go quickly to all the Vaishnavas. Sarva Navadvipe aji korimu kirtan, denko more kon karma kore kon jan. Today I will perform kirtan throughout Navadvip. Let me see what anyone can do. Denko aji kajir, podaya ghara dwar, kon karma kore deko raja batahar. Today we will burn the Kazi's house. Let me see what even his king can do. Prema bhakti vrishti aji, koribo vishal, pashandi ganer she hoibo aji kal. Today, I will shower an incessant rain of pure devotional service. Today, the atheists will face their ultimate fate. Gaudiya Bhashya. Sri Gaurasundar has instructed that one should have unlimited patience. Yet in anger, he personally assumes the form of Rudra and expressed a desire to destroy the houses of those who are opposed to kirtan. Therefore, how can these two contradictory statements be reconciled? Many people may inquire like this. The main principle in chanting the holy name of the Lord is to favorably engage all activities in the service of Krishna. To directly or indirectly support or participate in activities that are unfavorable to the service of Krishna is detrimental to the service of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the instruction to become lower than the straw in the street and tolerant like a tree, so trinada pi sunicha, and also toror api sohishna. These instructions is given for the favorable cultivation of Krishna consciousness. The patience and the freedom from material designations meant to support activities that are unfavorable to the devotional service are completely opposed to the process of chanting the holy names. Those who are resolute in supporting Nam Aparad certainly misuse the instruction to become lower than the straw in the street and more tolerant than a tree. Yeah, it doesn't mean that we become, yeah, anyways. Sri Gaurasundar has given the instructions to become lower than a straw in the street and more tolerant than a tree to reveal that this misuse is a type of unfavorable cultivation and to encourage the full cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Although to externally remain indifferent to unfavorable cultivation appears like a favorable adjustment, the sinful mentality or ignorance of covering the soul's propensity is revealed in such activities. In this regard, one should carefully discuss the verse from the 4th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam that begins Karno Pidaya Nirayat, and the editors, I guess, added in the full verse. So let's just read what the translation is. If one hears an irresponsible person blaspheme the master and controller of religion, one should block his ears and go away if unable to punish him. But if one is able to kill, then one should by force cut out the blasphemer's tongue and kill the offender. Oh my God. And after that, one should give up his own life. Oh my God. Yeah, I remember reading that in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam reading. That's in the case of Sati, right? Wow, that is heavy. Kill the offender and then give up one's own life. Though I don't think our acharyas would approve if somebody actually did that. So, okay. So wait. What did that sentence say? In this regard, one should carefully discuss that verse from the 4th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Otherwise, one will become bereft of devotional service and simply accumulate offenses. While displaying his anger and desire for revenge, Sri Gaurasundar simultaneously declared, "Today I will shower an incessant rain of pure devotional service that will act like Yamaraj, death personified for the atheists." Innumerable varieties of realization, such as found in verses like Mallanam Ashanarnam, oh, that's what we just read the other day, are possible only in him. We just read this verse yesterday. It was a long verse that we read where how everybody has darshan of the Lord in a different way. When Krishna entered the arena, Kamsa's arena, then it explains all the different ways that's all those in the assembly, how they saw him. So everybody saw a completely different form of Krishna according to their own moods. So that's what that verse is. Chalo chalo bhai shab nagari agan sarvatra amar agya koroho katan. Oh brothers, oh residents of Navadvīpa, go everywhere and announce my order. Krishna rahasya aji deki bekaje eko mahadipa loya asi bekashe. Everyone who desires to see Krishna's mystic potency should come with a big torch. It says Krishna Rahasya. So the Krishna's, what would he say? How would he translate that? Krishna's confidential. Let's see. I just want to, because mystic potency sounds a little bit rahasya. Mystery, secret, sport, fun, merriment, pleasantry, joke, banter. Oh, interesting. Rahasya kora means to cut jokes. Anyways, I don't think that's the translation here, but that's interesting that rahasya has so many meanings like that. Okay. I still don't know. Oh, mystery. Rukmini Didi says mystery. Oh, and Rukmini just made a very good point regarding that whole thing about cutting out the tongue and killing the person who blasphemes and then giving up your own life. She says, this instruction seems not possible in Kali Yuga. Yeah, definitely not this Yuga. Okay, so everyone who desires to see Krishna's mystical, the mystery of Krishna should come with a big torch. Bhangibo kajir ghar, kajir duare, kirtana korimu dekho kon karma kore. Today, I will break the Kazi's house and perform kirtana at his doorstep. Let me see what he can do. Ananta Brahmanda Mor, Sevaker Das, Mui Vidyamane O Ki Bhayer Prakash. Innumerable universes are servants of my servants. What fear can manifest when I am personally present? Tilar deko bhoy ke ho, na kori ho mane, bikale asibe jhat koriya bhojane. No one should have the slightest fear at heart. Come in the afternoon, right after you eat lunch. Totokone cholile nagariyagon pulake pornita shabe kiser bhojan. As all the residents immediately left to get ready, the hairs of their bodies stood on end. What need do they have of eating? Can you imagine anything more exciting? This is the first time that, like before, Mahaprabhu's kirtans was always done behind closed doors throughout the night. But now, for the first time ever, kirtan is going to be public out in the streets in opposition to the Kazi. And also all the people that we were just reading about, all the very wonderful like devotees who didn't have the fortune of being allowed to see the Lord's dancing. Now also they are going to be able to see the chanting and dancing of the Lord finally. So could you imagine how exciting this must have been? All their hair stood on end and they're too excited to eat. Nimai Pandita Aji, Nagare Nagare, Nachiven Dwani Hoilo, Prati Ghare Ghare. The news spread from house to house. Nimai Pandit will dance today throughout the streets of Navadvīpa. Jar nritya na dekhiya na diyar lok, koto koti sahasra koriya ache shok. Millions of Nadia residents had lamented that they had been unable to see the Lord's dancing. Heno jan nachibe nagare nagare, anande deyuti bande prati ghare ghare. Now that he would dance throughout the streets of Navadvīpa, the people in each and every house joyfully prepared their torches. Bape bandhile o putra bande, Bape bandhile o putra bandhe apanar. Ke hokare harishe na pare rakhivar. Even if the father prepared a torch, the son also prepared one. In their ecstasy, no one could restrict anyone. Tar boro shabe bandhen, boro bande toilo koria loyen. Everyone competed to make the biggest torch. They then filled large pots with oil to take with them. Whoa, that must have been really awesome. Like all these massive torches. Ananta arbuda Ananta arbuda loka nadiyar deotir sankhya kori bar shakti kara. Countless millions of people lived in Nadia. Who can count the number of torches they made? Isn't Deu mean like a wave? I just want to see that word. Deu means wave, I think. Oops. Deu. Oops. Oh, no. Deu means lamp, light, torch. Okay. Deuti. Lamp, light, torch. Interesting. Oh, I'm thinking of Deu, right? Sorry. Deu. Yeah. Deu is wave, billow, surge, whim, surging, and feeling. But Deu, just with a duh, it means torch. Okay. Itimade jeje vyavahare boro hoy, sahasrika sajaiya kona jane loy. Meanwhile, those who had the resources arranged for thousands of torches to take along. So yeah, people also arranged thousands of torches for everybody else. So every single person would have a torch. Hoilo deutimoy Navadvīpa pur Śrī bala vridher ranga barilo prachur. The entire Navadvīpa became filled with torches. The happiness of the women, children, and elderly persons increased unlimitedly. Whoa. This is like a bigger resistance movement than I've ever heard of anywhere ever. All the children and elderly even, they were all in it. They were all resisting the Kazi together, holding torches. Eho Shakti Anyer ki hoy Krishna bine tabu papi lok na janilo eto dine. Can anyone other than Krishna have such potency? Still, the sinful people were not able to understand. Ishat agyai matra sarva Navadvīpa cholila teutiloi prabhur samip. Simply by the Lord's order, people from all over Navadvīpa came before him with torches in hand. Shuni sarva Vaishnava aila totokon sabare koren agya shachir nandan. When the Vaishnavas heard about this, they immediately came. Then the son of Shachi instructed everyone. He said, Age nritya kori ben acharya goshai eka sampradaya gai ben tanatai. Advaita Acharya will dance in front, and one group will sing near him. Madhya nritya kori jai ben haridas eka sampradaya gai ben tanapash. Haridas will dance in the middle, and one group will sing next to him. Tabe nritya kori ben Shrivas Pandita eka sampradaya gai bekatana bhita. Behind him, behind Haridas, Shrivas Pandit will dance. One group will sing at his side. I think it's so awesome how Mahaprabhu would I've never seen us do like in our sangha at least, or in any sangha that I know, have like such an organized dancing as well, like having a main dancer, the central dancer, and then everybody's doing kirtan for that central dancer. Yeah, it's just, but we've seen that especially with the Rath Yatra and like that. Nityananda dike matra chahilen Prabhu, Nityananda bole toma na chari bo kabhu. As soon as the Lord looked at Nityananda, Nityananda said, I will never leave your side. Doriyo bolibo Prabhu e karja mor, tile ko hridoye para na chari bo tor. O Lord, my only duty will be to follow you for support. I will not relinquish your feet from my heart for even a moment. Doriya bolibo, Doriya bule Nityananda Mahabali. So Nityananda would also catch the Lord if he ever fell in ecstasy or anything like that, right? So I think that's also Doriya bule. Swatantra nachite Prabhu mor kon shakti, jatha tumi tatha ami ei mor bhakti. What ability do I have to dance independently? Wherever you are, I am there. This is my bhakti. This is my devotional service. Jata tumi tata ami, e mora bhakti. Premananda dhara dekhi nityananda ange, alingan kori rakhi len nijo sange. On seeing the symptoms of ecstatic love in the body of Nityananda, Nityananda's Premananda dhara dekhi, the flow, the current of the bliss of prem in Nityananda, then the Lord embraced him and kept him at his side. E mata jar jeno chitter ullas, keho va swatantra nache, keho prabhu pash. In this way, according to their sweet will, some devotees danced independently and some danced near the Lord. Mana diya shuno bhai, nagar kirtan, je katha shunile ghuche, karmer bandhan. Oh, brothers, hear attentively about the kirtan procession, the nagar kirtan. By hearing these topics, one is relieved from the bondage of fruitive activities. Gadadhar Vakreshwar Murari Shrivas Gopinath Jagadisha Vipra Gangadas Ramai Govindananda Shri Chandra Shekhar Vasudeva Shri Garbha Mukunda Sridhar Govinda Jagarananda Nandan Acharya Shuklambar Adi Jeje Jane E Karya. Devotees headed by Gadadhar, Vakreshwar, Murari, Shrivas, Gopinath, Jagadish, Gangadas, Ramai, Govindananda. I keep on saying this name Govindananda. I have no idea who he is. Sri Chandrasekhar, Vasudev, and also Sri Garbha. I don't know anything about Sri Garbha. Mukunda, Sridhar, Govinda, Jagarananda, Nandanacharya, and Shuklambar were all expert in the performance of kirtan. Ananta Chaitanya Bhritya Koto Jani Nam Veda Vyasa Dware Vyakta Hoi Bo Puran. Lord Chaitanya has innumerable servants. How many names can I know? Veda Vyas will reveal their names in the Puranas. Sangopanga Astrapari Shade Prabhu Nache Iha Varni Bare Ki Narer Shakti Ache. What human being has the ability to describe how the Lord danced with his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions? Avatar e mata ki ache arbhuta jaha prakashilen hoya shachi sutta. The wonderful pastimes manifested by the son of Shachi have never been manifested by any other incarnation. You'll never see any other form of the Lord perform a Nagar Sankirtan like this. Gaudiya Bhashya. There are innumerable servants of Śrī Caitanya-dev. These servants assist in the pastimes of various incarnations of the fountainhead of all incarnations. Vedavyas has described and will describe them in the course of compiling the Puranas. So in the future also. The verse Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam, which we all know this verse, is found in the Śrīmad-bhāgavatam. The author displays his humility by saying, a person like me has no ability to explain these topics like Vedavyas. The wonderful pastimes that were manifested in the incarnation of Sri Shachinandan are not manifested in any of his other incarnations. Narrations of various incarnations pastimes that Vedavyas has not described, as well as the preeminence of the Lord's magnanimous pastimes, have been manifested in the pastimes of the most merciful fountainhead of all incarnations. Tile tile bare vishvam bharer ulas, aparahna asiya hoilo parakash. The happiness of Vishvambar slowly and steadily increased as the afternoon arrived. Bhakata ganer chitte ki hoilo ananda, sukha sindhu majhe bhashe sabha bhakta vrinda. Who can describe the ecstasy of the devotees? They all floated in an ocean of happiness. Sukha sindhu majhe bhashe sabha bhakta vrinda. Nagare nachibo prabhu kamalar kanta dekhiya jiver dukha guchibo nitanta. The husband of the goddess of fortune was to dance throughout the streets of Navadvīpa. On seeing this, the miseries of the living entities would be vanquished. Nagare nachibo prabhu kamalar kanta. Strī balaka vridha kiba stavar, Strī balaka vridha kiba stavar jangam she nritta dekhile sarva bhanda vimochan. All moving and non-moving living entities, including women, children, and elderly people, would become free from all bondage simply by seeing his dancing. Kaharao, kahar o nahi ko bahya ananda aveshe godhuli shamoy ashi hoilo praveshe. Kaharo, yeah. As dusk approached, everyone lost external consciousness and ecstasy. Koti koti lok asi achaye duare parashya brahmananda Shri Hari dwani kore. Millions of people gathered at the Lord's doorstep. The loud vibration of Hari's names penetrated the universe. Hunkar korila prabhu shachir nandan shabde paripurna hoilo sabar shravan. The loud roaring of Shachi's son filled the ears of everyone there. Hunkarer shabde sabe hoila vival Hari boli shabe deepa jwalilo shakal. As they all became overwhelmed by his loud roars, they chanted the name of Hari and lit their torches. Lakha koti dipa shab chatur dike jwale, lakha koti lokachari dike Hari bole. Millions of torches were lit in the four directions, and millions of people chanted the name of Hari in the four directions. Ki shobha hoilo she bolite shaktikar, ki shukher na jani hoilo avatar. Who has the ability to describe that wonderful scene and the ecstasy that manifested there? Kiba chandra shobe dinamani, kiba tara gana jwale kichui na jani. No one could tell whether the full moon had appeared, whether the sun had appeared, or whether the stars had appeared. They were so oblivious to everything external because they were just so absorbed. Is there the sun, the moon? What's going on? They weren't even, they're oblivious to all that. Sabe jyotir, because of all the torches also, right? There's Sabe jyotirmoy dekhi shakal akash jyotirupe Krishna kiba korila prakash. The entire sky was filled with illumination. Perhaps Krishna had appeared there in the form of light. Hari boli dakilen Gauranga Sundar Shakal Vaishnava Gan Hoila Satvar. As Sri Gaurasundar loudly chanted the name of Hari, all the Vaishnavas got ready. Korite lagila Prabhu Bediya Kirtan Sabar Angete Mala Shri Phagu Chandan. The Lord then began kirtan in the midst of the devotees, who were all decorated with garlands, colored powder, and sandalwood paste. Gaudiya Bhashya. The phrase Shri Phagu Chandan refers to colored powder and sandalwood paste. In spring, it is customary to smear colored powder and sandalwood paste on one's body. From this, it is understood that Sri Gaurasundar's pastime of subduing the opposition to kirtan took place sometime around Holi. Interesting. This took place sometime around Holi, sometime close to his appearance day, I mean. Karatala mandira sabhar shobhed kore, koti singha jiniya shabe shakti dhore. Their hands were adorned with kartals and wampers. Each one of them had the power to defeat millions of lions. Whoa. That is so awesome. Their hands were adorned with kartals and wampers. Each one of them had the power to defeat millions of lions. Whoa. Okay. Chaturdike apana vigraha bhaktagan bahir hoila prabhu Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata. Surrounded by his devotees, who were none different from him, the son of Shachi began to move forward. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word apana vigraha means his own forms. This refers to the devotees. The devotees surrounded the Lord on the four directions. Prabhu matra bahir hoila nritya rase hari boli sarvalok mahananda bhashe. When the Lord moved forward while dancing in ecstasy, everyone chanted the name of Hari and floated in the waves of ecstasy. Uh-oh, we're running out of time. Sangsare tapa hore Shrimukha dekhiya sarvaloka Hari bole ananda hoya. Everyone became freed from material suffering on seeing the Lord's beautiful face, and they all joyfully chanted the name of Hari. Jiniya kandarpa koti lavanyer sima heno nahi jaha diya koribo upama. The Lord's beauty defeated that of millions of cupids. There is nothing with which it may be compared. Tatapiha bolitana kripar anusare anyatha sherupa kohi bare keba pare. Still, by his mercy, I am trying to explain. Otherwise, who is able to describe his beautiful form? Jyotirmoy kanaka vigraha vedasar chandane bhushita jeno chandrer akar. His effulgent golden form is the essence of the Vedas. He was decorated with sandalwood paste and appeared like the moon. Chanchar chikure shobhe malatir mala madhur hase jini sarvakala. His curling hair was decorated with a garland of jasmine, and his sweet smile defeated all artistic expression. Lalate chandana shobhe phagu bindhu sane bahutuli hari bole Śrī Chandra badane. His forehead was decorated with sandalwood paste and dots of colored powder. He raised his arms, and the name of Hari emanated from his moon-like face. Ajanu lambita mala sarva ange dole, sarva anga tite parma nayaner jale. His flower garlands that hung down to his knees swung to and fro. His entire body became wet with the tears flowing from his lotus eyes. We only have a few more verses left. Can I just finish? It just turned 8:30. But I think it'll take us like 4 minutes, I'm guessing. Dui mahabhuja jeno kanaker stamba, hulake shubhoye jeno kanaka kadamba. His two strong arms were like golden pillars. Being decorated with hairs standing on end, his body looked like a golden kadamba flower. Suranga adhara ati sundar dashana, shruti mule shobha kore prujuga patana. His lips were enchanting, and his teeth were beautiful. His eyebrows stretched to the bottoms of his ears. Whoa. Eyebrows stretched to the bottoms of his ears. Gajendra jiniya skanda hridaya supina. Tahi shobe shukla jagya sutra atikhina. His shoulders defeated those of the king of elephants. His broad chest was decorated with a thin white Brahman thread. Thanks, Rukumini. Charanara Vindarama Tulasir Stan Paramanirmala Shukshma Vasa Paridhan. Lakshmi and Tulsi resided at his lotus feet. He was dressed in supremely pure and fine cloth. Unnata Nasika Singha Griva Manohar Sabha Hoite Supita Sudirga Kalevar. His nose was raised, and his lion-like neck was enchanting. His body was taller and more golden than that of anyone else. যে সেখানে থাকিয়া সকল লোক বলে, দেখো ঠাকুরের কেশ শোভে নানা ফুলে. People in all directions said, see how the Lord's hair is decorated with various flowers. এতে কলোকের সে হইল সমুচয়, সরি সপ পড়িলে ওতল নাহি হয়. The crowd was so thick that if a mustard seed was dropped, it would not reach the ground. Everybody was squished together. It's like, yeah, Gaudiya Bhashya. The crowd of people was so thick that even a small mustard seed could not reach the ground if it was thrown among them. That is so, I've been in lots of situations like that here. Okay, this is the last verse. Tatapi heno kripa hoilo tokhon, shabe dekhen shuke prabhur vadan. Yet, by the mercy of the Lord, everyone could happily see the Lord's face. Wow, that's like Krishna eating with the cowherd boys, right? He's surrounded with millions of cowherd boys surrounded in circles all around him, but each cowherd boy could easily see Krishna. They thought that they were sitting right next to Krishna. All right, so that's our reading for today. And we will continue reading from this very exciting chapter the day after tomorrow. Tomorrow is an overwhelming day. 7 appearance and disappearance days of like very prominent personalities. And also Vasant Panchami. And it's just an overwhelming day. Yeah. So, but yeah, tomorrow we'll read. On seeing the Lord's beautiful face, all the women made auspicious sounds and constantly chanted the name of Hari. At every doorstep, there were bunches of bananas, clay pots filled with water, coconuts, and mango twigs. There were most attractive ghee lamps burning in the opulent plates filled with yogurt, durva grass, and rice paddy. Every doorstep in Nadia was decorated in this way, yet no one knew who had done this. In their ecstasy, the men and women who chanted with the Lord did not know who else was present there. The thieves thought, this is a golden opportunity. Today we will steal from each and every house. Ultimately, the thieves forgot their own plans, and nothing other than the name of Hari was heard from their mouths. Whoa. Oh my God, this is so exciting. The entire road is filled with puffed rice and small conch shells, but everyone was in such happiness that no one knew who brought them, or who threw them. It must have been the demigods. Do not consider these topics as exaggerations. Such things happen wherever Krishna enjoys. Okay, oh my God, this chapter is so exciting, but I gotta stop. We're over time. Oh, it's 8:34. Okay, we finished earlier than I said we would. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Sachi-Nandan Gora Hari, Sachi-Nandan Jai Gora Hari, Jai Swaparshara Jai Gora Hari, Swaparshara Jai Gora Hari. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata Gaur Hari Ki Jai. Jai Śrī Guru Gauranga Hari. Śrī Radha-Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Śrī Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Shata Shishmad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Gurudev Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Shata Shishmad Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatarashata Shishmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatarashata Shishmad Bhakti Pragan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatarashata Shishmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Anuga Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Saparshad Shri Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopigan Ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Navadvīpa Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. The first opposition Sankirtan party of Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashucha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sai Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata Ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. The Gaudiya Bhashya of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hey, Dandavat Pranams everybody. Nri Hari Prabhu and Bhavatarani Mataji and Krishna Maya Didi, Champak Mataji, and let's see on YouTube and Facebook, Raseshwari Mataji, Haribo, Shachi Prabhu, Ganga Mataji, Madhusudan Prabhu, Shubhananda Prabhu, Vidyalala Sadidi, Sudevi Didi, Shripad Sajan Maharaj, Dandavat Pranams Maharaj, and Mahibart Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams Mahibart Prabhu, Rukmini Didi, and who else? So many devotees today. Dandavat Pranams. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you all tomorrow for that extremely overwhelming day. I don't know how we're going to read about all these personalities in 1.5 hours, but yeah. Let's see what the list. What are all the TTs tomorrow? I'm just looking at the calendar really quick. Wait, 1 second. It is. Oops. How come it's not letting me open up 7 more? Sorry, oh, that's why I don't have it on day view. Okay, so tomorrow is Saraswati Puja, Vasant Panchami. It's the appearance day of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, appearance day of Shri Raghunandan Thakur, the appearance day of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, the appearance day of Shri Vishnu Priya Devi, and it is the disappearance day of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the disappearance day of Srila Bhakti Vivek Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and also the disappearance day of Bhakti Swarup Parvat Goswami Maharaj. So I don't know how we're going to manage tomorrow, but somehow we'll try to read about all these personalities. Yeah, and there's a really beautiful chapter in Nectar of Govinda Lila about Vasant Panchami. I'd love to read that as well. All right, Dandavat Pranams, everybody. Thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Rukmini Didi. Thanks.